Hey, everybody out there in Same Dad Podcast land, all our fans out there. It's good to have you back for another wonderful episode. We have plenty of stories and neat topics to discuss. My name is Jesse, and this is my sister Kellie. How you doing,
Hello.
Kellie?
Good. Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. We just got back from a weekend at the Iowa State Fair, and it was a lot of fun. Had a good time. I got something I just want to cover real quick before we start. I know that I'd mentioned how in the last episode, literally right before we started filming the episode, our buddy Andy, our last episode, a good friend of mine called and told me that Andy had passed away at the age of 40. He missed his 41st birthday by 4 days. I'm 40 myself, and Andy had been a friend of mine about my whole life. I got the program. My parents attended the showing, and they got Andy a nice bouquet of flowers, some white and blue ones with a little football stuck in there because he was a Colts fan and a Pacers fan and IU, just Indiana local sports. He was a big fan, and they sent me a picture of the flowers, and then they sent me the program that they hand out. And when I got back from the fair, I opened it and I looked at it, and I saw a lot of different pictures of Andy, from the Andy that I remember when I first met him. He had those leg braces in, and he was on my little league baseball team, and there were pictures of him with those braces. There was some pictures of him blowing a bubble gum bubble. There was, standing by an old car. Pictures with either him and his mom or him and his grandmother, but I could relate to all those photos growing up as an 80s kid, with the background, just the clothing and the vehicles and the the feeling you got from those images. Andy grew up a lot like I did, and I don't know, I thought, I was kind of caught off guard by the phone call last week, but I wanted to still press through and do the episode. And as I was going through that program, I thought, about different things about Andy. And one thing about Andy was, from the day he was born to the day that he left the earth, he was always Andy. Like, he was never altered by a crowd. He was never ashamed of himself at anything that he did. He was always proud of himself in a good way at the right times. Like, I remember the two proudest moments I remember of Andy was when we graduated high school. He came up to me. He was the one guy that made his way over to me and shook my hand, and he had a smile with tears in his eyes, and he said something like, "Man, look at this guy graduating," and he was so proud to have that cap and gown on. And like, for me, maybe that moment, my graduation in high school didn't register the same. I was like, maybe I didn't understand the magnitude of the situation, or I'm the type of person that constantly worries, like, okay, this is just a step. Oh my God, what happens now? Like, maybe I was more overwhelmed at a completely uncertain future and what the hell's going to happen. But Andy was truly fully in on the moment, relishing it and enjoying it for all the right reasons. And him with that cap and gown on when he graduated high school, and him in that T League uniform, like, he was so proud to have both of those on. And our T League uniforms were just a shirt, and we had to wear our jeans, and it was a shirt and a hat is what you got, and an old ball glove from the corner of your garage, and he was just so proud to be a part of that. Like he never, leg braces or not, like he was all in and in the moment, where I was probably just worried about something trivial like not screwing up or whether or not we were getting ice cream or if I even really wanted to play in the first place. And Andy was so proud to be a part of that team. Yeah, but he was always that way. Like he was always comfortable in his own skin where I can't speak for everyone else, but for most of my life, I never have been. Like I'm always thinking far ahead, like, oh my God, now that this is done, now what do I say? What do I do? Or what's the next turn? Or it's always like to me, everything's a step to another thing. And I never, for Andy, I don't think maybe he didn't have any grand plans and just lived for the moment and loved those achievements for the right reasons. Like if you could take like Andy's pride in that T League game and put it in everybody about whatever you're doing, the world would be a better place, 100%. Let's just, like, even athletes today, if you could just, just understand, the game, or, enjoy it for the right reasons, or, so he always had that quality. And that's what I thought of as I was flipping through. I don't know what they call those. Are they programs? Is that what those are at a funeral showing, or a pamphlet? I don't know what they call those things. Everybody has one when they have a funeral. I got it up on the fridge with one of Eli's dinosaur magnets.
Perfect.
Andy's on the front. It looks like he's dressed for the prom or something, or somebody's wedding. He's got a sharp looking suit on, like standing in front of a car.
Nice.
Yeah, he had pictures of himself in that graduation stuff, standing in the driveway and then standing in his front yard. And it just made me think a bit. I just wanted to say that because I got kind of, now that I've had a week to think about it. But yeah, we went to the Iowa State Fair this weekend, and the weekend before that we had the family reunion. So this week and a half has been very, very packed with thought and reflection, and just a whole lot of stimulation, different scenarios and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody could ask for any better memorial, really, than what you just kind of provided, or eulogy, if you will. I unfortunately didn't attend Andy's service, but I feel like we just did, and I appreciate that. I want to say that before we move forward. So, and you've talked a little bit about, it's been a busy weekend, back to back to back, and I have to say I'm probably the opposite. I have been somewhat of a hermit the last few weeks, so I feel like you're gonna have some stories to tell that I'm gonna have to just tag along tonight, and we'll see where this goes. But tell me about the Iowa State Fair.
Let's see. We left on Friday afternoon. Nicole got her hair cut, and then we left town. She got her hair all done up. She went to we drove from, we live on the eastern side of Iowa, and the fair is I think a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, it's near Des Moines, maybe a little west of center of the state. And so we went to Des Moines, and we stayed with some friends of ours. And that Friday night, Nicole went to a country music guy's concert there at the fair. I stayed back I just watched some preseason football and just stayed at these guys' house. They got a nice place, really nice living room setup. It's a sectional with an end table in the middle and the TV, and it was just pretty neat. Just kind of spending some time there. She went to the guy. I don't know what the guy's name even is. The tall fucking guy. I don't know. They all got names like Urban Smith and fucking Bryce Houston and shit. I don't know who the fuck they are. One of them guys. It's pop country. I think it was Blake Shelton, that tall fucker on the Voice show or whatever. And then Gwen Stefani came out, I guess, because they're dating. They sang some songs, and yeah,
I think they're married now. They got married.
Yeah, she left a talented guy for that guy. She was with this singer of Bush, that Gavin Rossdale.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that guy was an artist. That guy was really something, and I don't know. I guess them blue jeans did her in. I don't know, or maybe that wallet in the back pocket of them blue jeans. But yeah, I did. It was what it was. They came back, and then let's see that rounded off Friday night. So then Saturday morning we got up, and the thing that we did that was probably not it didn't work out quite as well as we wanted. Nicole wanted the three couples and Eli to spend some quality time together at the fair. The goal was to get up in the morning and get to the fair by about noon, and then spend the better part of the afternoon on into the evening, just kind of all of us being together, walking around at the fair. And it just didn't, each couple wanted to kind of do their own thing, and there was some miscommunication to start off the day. So we got there kind of later than we wanted, and everybody got together, and it was on a Saturday. The traffic was so bad. We were waiting like an hour to go the 5 blocks out into the fair, and then we got in there, and I mean, it was just asshole to elbow in there, and it was hot, and it was kind of a shock to the system. And then everybody kind of wanted to do different things. The group was just too big. I mean, you're not going to it's the biggest state fair in the nation, and you're wanting like 6 or 7 folks to stay together.
No.
They're all going to want to, one group's going to want to go see something that the other 4 or 5 could care nothing about. So you're out in the sun getting angry. Yeah. Waiting, why are we waiting on these guys to look at this? And then everybody wants to go see something. And so it was just like herding cats, and Nicole was getting frustrated, and then I was getting frustrated because I'm 40 and it was hot, and it was just kind of a shock to the system. All the people, I'd say there were at least 150,000 there, at least. Wow. I mean, it was. I took as many photos as I could. I'm going to put them up on Facebook eventually, trying to quantify the bodies, like just the mass humanity. Like I tried to get angles and shots that would just kind of really give the feel of the mass of the people. So day one was kind of not really the most successful situation, so we all kind of split off, left the fair. Nicole was frustrated, and I can tell because she asked me, did you have a good time? Because she had already been frustrated. She was mad that I don't know, there was something with the parking, and then there was like I couldn't untangle one of Eli's straps in his car seat, so she had to do it, and then she was just like flustered, and she looked over at me and asked if I had a good time, and I looked at her. I said, honest answer, I said no, and because it was just a clusterfuck trying to keep the group together and all the people and everything, and then she got kind of mad that I was so honest. I was like, well, I mean, it just didn't work out today. So we went back to our friend's house, and we hit it again on Sunday.
Wait a minute, you went back a second day?
Yeah,
That's almost unheard of.
We did 3. So the Sunday was much better because the crowd was down considerably, like a third of the people weren't there. Mm-hmm. So we drove straight in, didn't have to wait around. Everything was boom, 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 and it was already determined that we were going to kind of do our own thing. So that was a lot better, I think. We were able to just kind of go from exhibit to exhibit and take our time and not worry where everyone is or any kind of meetup points or anything. And the second day was a lot better. And I'm trying to think. Her friend who he stayed with, she stayed up 23 straight hours and baked like 19 pies for the pie contest, the cooking contest. She won overall and like 6 or 7 other ribbons and everything.
Wow.
She was in her kitchen. She slept for 3 hours and then started making pies from like it was like pretty much like 4 a.m. to 3 a.m. She was just straight up just made pies, labeled them all, and took them in there. She won a lot and won the overall, and it was.
So this was part of the 4-H stuff.
Yeah.
So
like the competition, and
because I didn't realize that they got to rebake or redo things by the time that they got to the state fair. I always thought that whatever you did at the local fair was like either ribbons or displays of or pictures of were carried forward. And I understand that food doesn't last that long, but I didn't realize they spent time rebaking things for the state fair. That's how tuned in I am.
Yeah, she ceramic.
I thought they just put it under the plastic wrap and they said, here, it's got a little mold that look, I was a grand champion back in my county. I swear.
It's not in its prime anymore, but yeah. So she did that. That was that, and that was quite a test of endurance. It was just unreal. I mean, you should have seen the kitchen and the dining room area. It was crazy. So she ran all those over, I think, on a Monday morning, but Sunday at the fair was good and Monday was good. Sunday was nice because we kind of just did our own thing, me, Nicole, and Eli, and then Monday we went to saw the Veterans Parade, which was awesome. We went in, we found a parking spot in a neighborhood. All the local neighbors, $15-20 you can park in their front yard near the fair. Mm-hmm. So we found this old veteran, and we parked in his front yard. I think I paid $15. And then as we were walking into the fair on that Monday morning, there was a guy out there peddling tickets on the street corner, and he looked like he'd seen his better days, and selling tickets, and looked like he'd been in the sun a little too long, and he kind of had bedhead and just kind of just kind of doing what he could for a few bucks, you know. And on the way out, that poor guy was on the same corner puking, still trying to peddle them tickets.
Dang.
So he's out there probably throwing up from sunstroke, still trying to loyal to the cause, you know, trying to sell these tickets. The parade was awesome. I got some pictures of that too. I'll put up. We were lucky enough. We got a good seat on a bench, and this old timer came walking up, an old Navy veteran that used to live in Chicago. So I had fun talking to him. He'd stand up and salute and blow his Navy whistle and everything. I mean, he was totally 100% in, and that was really cool to see him talk to all the old guys as they go by and salute the flag and everything, and told me his life story, you know. And then I asked him, I said, I got one for you. Is it true in Chicago if you put ketchup on your hot dog, they'll throw you out? And then he said, well, they won't throw you out, but they'll definitely get upset with you. It's just a thing in Chicago. You don't put ketchup on your dog.
No, I know that. I know better than that. Mustard all day long, some peppers, some relish, but no ketchup.
He was a cool dude. He kind of added to the event, you know, have a guy that was into it as much as he was. And he was so proud to tell me everything that I didn't mention that I had served. I just let him inform me as if I didn't know, just because I felt like he got more joy out of thinking he was talking to an honor than as if I would have spoke up and said that I was in, you know. So I just let him kind of explain everything to me or whatever, because I felt like he was really getting a lot out of like talking to me as stuff went by, you know. So I just kind of let him do his thing. He told me how his wife had passed away, so he moved closer to the kids, the daughter and grandchildren, and this and that. And pretty neat guy. Just came out of nowhere and sat down next to us.
And that was on Monday. You said there was the big parade.
Yeah. After the parade,
Cool.
We took off. For food, I ate throughout the weekend. I had a gyro or hero, however you say it. We don't need another hero. Mad Max and the Thunderdome, ain't it? We don't need to eat no more gyros. Yeah.
Tina Turner was in that one too. That's funny.
Yeah, that was a wild ass movie. I thought we were headed that direction a year and a half ago from today. But our nation avoided the Mad Max situation. Yeah.
Did we really? Have we yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, you don't have to look too far. Just drive around. I'm sure there's some neighborhoods that are pretty close. There's probably some old drunk guy drinking a bottle of Thunderbird with some old Spike Legion of Doom shoulder pads on. Driving an old Chevette with 7 different paint colors on it. But yeah, I had a gyro. What the fuck else did I eat? I had I got a couple of foot-long corn dogs by accident. I had asked for one, and Nicole had already taken the drinks and the dog and took off, and I had already paid. And then this girl handed me another one, and it was just kind of like, yeah, hell, I'll take it. Why not? So I got a twofer on some. So I ate 2 feet of hot dog, which I guess mathematically would be like 4 corn dogs on a regular day.
Or about this similar length as your small intestines. Or...
Yeah, I had a corn covered rod from my sternum to my.
Well, when you said that they made a mistake, I thought the mistake was ordering the foot long, because to me that's too much hot dog at any one serving.
Well, that's
So
an irony. I didn't
get one.
I cheated him out of a dog, but the quantities were too fucking big to. So like, I paid the price later, physically.
Yeah, joke's on you.
Ah, you glutton. Yeah.
Well, I was waiting for a menu item that might have been deep fried. Did you try anything new that's the hot item for this summer?
Believe it or not, of all the things, it was a ramen noodle stand that we hit up that had a massive line. Yeah, you wouldn't think that would be at a carton of ramen. Ain't that crazy? Like some stir fry ramen.
So what, just different flavors they offered, or I mean, was it a big noodle stand? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it was like just like a big tent with these massive bowls, I guess you call them woks. And yeah, I just stirring it. He might as well have had a boat paddle stirring that thing. But they had chicken and noodles and vegetables and stuff, and they must have went through the soy sauce, because there were 30 or 40 massive buckets of soy sauce like lining the food tent like a fortress. And man, it was really good. It was some good food, and I think. And then I had some funnel cake. You can't go to any fair without getting some funnel cake.
Hell no.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then for drinks, I just stuck with like water, Mountain Dew. You know, just kept it simple. I had some cookies. They have I don't know what the company is, but they sell buckets of cookies, like little soft cookies. Ate some of those, chocolate chip, and that was really it. I mean, it was pretty neat. I don't ride any of the rides anymore. I don't play the games or ride the rides. The rides freak me out. And there's a local yeah, with that.
Okay, it took me a second to find this picture, so talk about the noodles, the wok. This is what I thought of.
The guy had a shirt on that barely covered the crest of his belly.
Okay.
And he was stirring it with like this, like a billy club or something. And yeah, it was pretty cool. It's always neat. I suggest anyone to get to the Iowa State Fair at least one point in their life. I would suggest probably shooting for. I would avoid Friday and Saturday at all costs. If you can take the time off of work, I'd hit it on like a Sunday through Thursday. If you could pull it off, it's just easier on your nerves. It's just.
I'm still stuck on the fact you went 3 days in a row. I mean, in Indiana, I think that's almost unheard of unless you are part of the fair or you have something to show or grow. Because in Indiana, we've been known to get off work and go to the fair just to eat and breeze through the photo gallery and maybe, get a henna tattoo and we're off. So to think about you going 3 days in a row, this place must really offer a lot of, I mean, it just sounds huge and wonderful.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They got stuff carved out of butter, giant butter cow. They made a butter slide with butter kids on it, and crazy. And
butter kids.
Yeah, they had them bratty ass butter kids.
And they grew up from the street over, the butter kids.
Yeah, it's cool. It was fun. It started out we were all kind of confused, and then as it progressed.
Mm.
There weren't too many people on the rides. Like I mentioned before, there's a local theme park that I was kind of known for, where a kid fell off the log ride and got sucked under and drowned. So like I think that not too many people mess with them rides anymore. They're pretty. There were a lot of empty seats on them rides, even in the prime of the fair. There really wasn't. You'd only had maybe 2 or 3 buckets on the Ferris wheel with people in it.
Yeah. The actual midway of our fair here in Indiana is not. I mean, it's actually well attended. I mean, there's usually teenagers, that want to go and ride the fair, which I just sounded totally old. But there was a video that circulated this year about a local state fair this summer. If you know, it's like the platform where everyone sits almost like in theater seats, and that platform itself goes in a circle, and they just, you're sitting upright, but that thing gets going and momentum, and for whatever reason, this whole platform started to tip forward. So what I found interesting, if you could ever look up the video sometime, it was like watching everybody respond to it, like guys and girls and whomever, kids, they were running toward it, not to spectate, but as if they were all going to put their hands on it to keep it from tipping over. And this isn't like a little A-framed swing set in the backyard of your grandma's house. This is like this massive thing, but it was like everyone's tendency to run to it to try to ride it, luckily they got it slowed down enough right before the tipping point, and everybody was really shell shocked when they got off of it, and they panned the crowd and everything. But yeah, so I think we all have suspicions about carnival rides, and how often do they do this, and how they don't pay the workers very much. Why do they care if every cotter pin's in there? And
Yeah.
let's roll. I don't know where it is, but let's go. The fair's on. So but usually when we go to the fair, I don't know what your favorite things are. I mean, obviously we talked about food. One of my favorites is the photography and the clothing hall. And I don't know what it is about walking through all of the photos that people have taken and the various perspectives. I mean, you could see, name it and you see it, whether it's people, scenery, animals, color composition, nature, all of those things. And so when you talked about 3 couples and X amount of children trying to stay together in a unit, I really chuckled inside right away, because I thought, no way. I mean, that's almost an impossibility, because I can't even hardly stay together with my own family. Where's Kellie? She's still down the ramp, and I'm looking at every photo in great detail, and the prom dresses, or the old the antique furniture. Things that people have unearthed and refinished. Everything, you name it, they do it. So I love the exhibition halls for sure.
Yeah. It's that's also where the air conditioning is.
Yeah, it is. Well, a couple of years ago, they started to have like little brewery tents, or they would serve beer as long as it was this tasting event, or a sponsorship by Sun King or whatever the brewery. So of course Seth and I would find that, and the kids were just old enough, as older teens, they got a little cash to go to the Midway or get some food. Well, we popped over and listened to like a little bluegrass and drank a few beers, or a couple beers, and then the fair seemed a little more enjoyable after that.
Yeah. 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 It's a good time. Just avoid Friday and Saturday, and it's too big of a group, because it's hard. Everybody has different interests, and it'd be different if it was like 75 degrees. then you could just kind of sashay around and wait on each other and small talk and stuff. But when it's hot as fuck, and you just want to get to where you're going and stuff, it's hard. You know, everybody has a breaking point. You know.
That does make it extra difficult, or your tolerance level is low. And you talked about parking. I mean, there are sometimes, and even to get remotely close to the event, and then you do have to wade through, is this really a good spot to park? I mean, look at like the 800 junk cars near, where it looks like this parking lot is this a parking lot, or is this just his front yard, and will it be here when I get back? But it seems like they have expanded parking for our fair here in Indiana, but it's still a pretty big trek. So I was thinking about trying to get my mom out to the fair this year. Well, she has bad knees, and so not very mobile. And, you do have to plan for an entire, experience for someone who can't even get from the parking lot to the event. So there's some logistics involved. And I can imagine on a hot day and getting kiddos out of car seats and getting everything toted and across the field. Once you get there, it takes some. It's kind of like when your first day on vacation. You have these high expectations when you travel someplace. You learn over time. Just the first day is a wash. That is that's well known in family travel etiquette 101. It is the first day. Don't try to do anything big. You're gonna get some rest, eat, kind of chill, let the day happen. But invariably, inevitably, whatever, we are definitely wanting to jump right into whatever we want to do. And even at 50, I haven't learned that. I'm thinking, oh, we got this. We've eaten, we've rested, everybody's good. No, that first day, you cannot have any expectations. That's my sense of it anyway.
Yeah.
We were talking about. Before I forget, I do want to mention what I had for dinner tonight. While it's not that interesting to anyone, I did have a nice plate of fried green tomatoes from Dad's garden tonight. I wanted to give a shout out to Dad and his green tomatoes. I did take some pictures, but I'll maybe post some of those later. But man, every year, and I hadn't had them in a while just because it takes a little time, and I wanted to make them just the way we like them. So they were good. So
yeah, he's got a way to grow some tomatoes.
Well, your mom and Dad came over today and dropped these tomatoes off, and I could only talk briefly because I was on a break. But they came with two. Well, they were going to come in actually and kind of drop them off and sneak away, which is not unusual for them. And they had about 3 bags worth. Now, I'm the only person really that eats red tomatoes, and Seth and I are the only ones to eat the green. So I've already told Dad that I usually take most of his haul and I take them to local, like a food pantry and a couple of neighborhood cabinets that we have in our town. And so I'll drop some of the produce off there. But what was I going to say about that? Oh, so I asked Dad, I said, well, so how many, your mom pipes up, we're only going to have 10 plants next year. And so I, of course, asked, well, how many did you have this year? 40. I'm thinking, hell, if every plant only produced 2 or 3 tomatoes, that's well over what anybody could ever use. And I don't think your mom does any salsa making or any canning much anymore. So the crop was just massive. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying maybe they could back off of some of the tomato plants next year.
Yeah, they always did grow a lot of stuff. The zucchini used to be a big time thing. Dad would get a kiddie pool, like one of them blue ones. You just get it like Kmart or something, in the stack, and he would fill that with zucchini and then drive it to work with him and give them zucchinis out. He'd always tell the women, "Now there ain't no batteries with these."
Oh God, I was waiting for something like that. Well, yeah. I can tell you that we, other than as I got older and I would make different recipes with them, I made a lot of zucchini bread in my day just to use them up. But cookies and different things, but mostly baked goods until I got a little smarter and maybe ate a little better and realized all the things you could do with zucchini, but in cooking, that is.
Well, you could do about anything you want with a zucchini. You could even probably knock somebody out with one. Throw it through a window with a mafia note on it or something.
And he'd grow some that were like they were, I don't know, they were I can't even talk, but they were so big that I thought, were these genetically altered or what happened here? But he'd say, well, you just leave them on the vine long enough, they just get big. And there was never one that was of normal size. It was always at least the size of your arm.
Yeah.
Small child.
Yeah. Speaking of arms and small children.
Oh no.
Eli today shit a doorknob. He poor guy, like we were trying to get him to we're trying to potty train him the best we can, and he's doing the best he can, but with autism sometimes it can really be tough to, well, with any little child in general, you can't rationalize. Like it's hard to put the meaning behind do step A so you'll feel good at step B. And it's funny with a lot of children in general, or they have, maybe we're just born with it, but we have this distinct we're very, very secretive about pooping, or we're very we're very secretive and take ownership of pooping to a degree that, because it's like, man, get that out of you, stop clenching and letting that shit add up. And then by the time he went, it was just literally like a doorknob or a forearm, and it was just, you just feel bad for him.
Poor baby.
Yeah, because you want to work with him to potty, but then he's like, oh, he doesn't want to, he won't poop, he'll just clench as long as he physically can. And it was just, it was like an hour and a half of giving birth to this chocolate doorknob. But yeah, it was rough on him, but he's probably coming out of it now. He was he was kind of traumatized for a bit after it happened, but I think he's put it behind him, literally.
Yeah. Well, I think we could all think back to some stories about stages of potty training and the quirkiness of kids and how they think about that process until they realize the necessity of it. I think I've had two kids, and both kids have had very different experiences. And to this day, they're 16 and 20. And some of the early experiences of a mother and a dad determined that the child was going to poop that day. Those kinds of pressures are not forgotten. So, and looking back, I learned a little bit differently on the second go around with Graham. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things that you just kind of have to go with the flow on, so to speak. So
yeah, I think moms have a better knack for it than dads. I come at it from a very persistent approach where Nicole just gets, moms have a way of just getting right in the trenches and really, like, I don't know, if there was like an emergency poop hotline where you needed to call somebody and be talked through your poo, like moms would be good at that. Like Nicole's in there talking him down, settling him down, like getting kind of working with him right there on the toilet. She put him on the toilet and just kind of holding him there, being super patient, and she knows how to be patient and kind of talk him through at the right moment, where I'm always kind of persistent, just kind of helicoptering over him, like kind of waiting, and she just kind of knows when to use all of her patience at the right time. So she's better at that than me, for sure.
That sounds about right. And I don't think it's about just your family, but I think that's kind of the formula that kind of lets kiddos and households kind of move through those difficult times or those frustrations. Everybody, and you've said it a couple of times now, I'm talking about Andy and just a couple of things you've said, but knowing when to bring the skills, the celebrations, the patience, knowing when to bring those forth at just the right time. So I think that's a nice little theme that's kind of emerged tonight. So I like it.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I was wanting to say some more about the canned salsa before I forgot. Did you ever get to eat any of Mom's canned bell peppers?
No.
The yellow or banana peppers? Yeah, banana peppers. That's what they were. Oh my God.
You guys hoarded those for yourselves. I never got a can of those. So
Man,
you're bringing something to light right now.
For one, straight off the plant, they were amazing. And then two, she would pickle them and gosh, I would just eat them just one after the other right out of the jar. Oh my goodness.
Sounds lovely. Yeah, I love those on a good sandwich, a good sub sandwich of some kind. I love yellow peppers or banana peppers.
Yeah, they're amazing. I had speaking of a good sandwich, man, Jimmy John's. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I had that over the weekend too. Gosh dang, that's just some of the best. I think it's the bread.
Well, I used to not like the bread because I thought it was a little bit too aggressive or tough, but it just has the perfect juxtaposition to the juicy flavored meat.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I just had dinner, but I'm sound like I'm hungry. But we have to pay homage to Jersey Mike's. Have you had Jersey Mike's?
Yes, I have.
We're getting no royalties for saying this, so let's just bring up all the sandwich shops that we like. I'll tell you, Jersey Mike's, it's right up there because it has that peppery pickled mixture that you can put on, and the Italian seasoning, and the perfect shredded lettuce. That's a good one too.
Yeah, good stuff. I think talking about the fair and shitting doorbells and sandwiches and canned peppers, I think we've reached the end of that journey. We're at about that 50-minute mark, and I think we'll thank everybody for listening, and I hope that this got you through some tough times. Hope you're able to laugh a little bit and forget some things. And I want to thank everybody that's subscribed to us and all the listeners out there. We're around 130 views on YouTube, about 25 or 30 on the other apps. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and a few others. I got the links in the description. I'd like to say especially the really cool Veterans Parade I saw this weekend. They even had some old guys doing the flag at Hiroshima instead of a statue. They were like really real guys
Oh, wow.
staying in position, holding that flag up. That was pretty awesome. Support your veterans, love your veterans, take care of your mental health. That's important. Life can be hard sometimes. Reach out, take care of your mental health, and autism awareness. My son has autism. I love him and I'm proud of him. So autism awareness. I always like to suggest a song. Let's go with, let's do some Jerry Lee Lewis. Let's do What Made Milwaukee Famous Has Made a Loser Out of Me.
All right. I can never match your shout outs. In fact, this always sneaks up on me. So first, I want to give a shout out to my kids this weekend. I didn't mention it, but Emma's returning to college. She's in her first house with some roommates. So wanted to thank everyone who helped move her in. Took a lot of packing and organizing this weekend. And so what always gets me in a groove is listening to some old college music for me, which was late 80s, early 90s. So I'm going to do a shout out on a song by Suzanne Vega called Fancy Poultry. And it's just folk songs kind of get me centered and focused. So that's one I would suggest. Look her up. It's been a while. Tori Amos is a nice option as well. So lastly, I'll just give a shout out to, I'm very much a proponent of mental health awareness and prevention, vaccinations, not just about COVID, but other conditions, our kiddos, and things that I think are important to help stay healthy and get on top of. So want to just give another shout out to all of the public health efforts that are going on now to kind of right the ship so we can get back to normal. Learn what you can, find credible sources, and just listen to your neighbors, listen to people, have conversations, and I think you'll learn a lot more. So with that, I think I will sign off as well.
All right, everybody out there in podcast land, all of our Same Dad fans, we love you and appreciate you, and y'all love each other, and take care.